The mission of North American Western Dressage is to encourage the progressive athletic development of the Western performance horse through systematic education as provided by the classical training pyramid, to increase awareness of dressage principles for the improvement of Western horses of all breeds, to develop Western dressage as a competitive equestrian art, and to protect the horse from the abuses that preclude his ability to perform with dignity. The result of Western dressage training is a horse that is attentive, intelligent, displaying nobility in his carriage, with movements that are rhythmic, supple, and elastic, willingly guided in perfect harmony with its rider and with the brilliance that he naturally displays when free. In 400 BC, Xenophon wrote the first of many books on the subject, much of which still applies today. Friezes from the Parthenon display a high level of horsemanship, as the horse was their prime method of transportation and their greatest asset on the battlefield. But it wasn't until the Renaissance era that classical horsemanship was reborn. In Europe, a cultural movement began that caused a rebirth of the ancient Greek philosophies on the training of horses into the classical world. Meanwhile, the Spanish colonized the Americas, bringing horses and cattle with them, splitting the equestrian world in two. The Spanish horsemen, or vaqueros, developed a new style of horsemanship out of necessity, adapted to moving and working cattle quickly and effectively. The horses were quick, responsive, light, and brave, and gave the vaqueros the reputation of being master horsemen. The vaqueros branched up through Texas and California, bringing their traditions and way of training horses with them, sharing them to the American Indians and settlers. As the use for horses for battle and transport faded almost entirely, the American cowboy gave way to industry and progress. Dressage was just beginning to emerge around the world as a competitive sport, and as the new age of Western horses came to be, the vaquero traditions were slowly lost to history. As dressage grew in popularity, small groups of riders came together that had dressage backgrounds, but primarily rode Western, and had no interest in chasing cows, racing around barrels, or crawling down the rail of a pleasure class. It wasn't long before someone finally coined the phrase, Western dressage. Interest quickly spread across the nation, but the growing discipline was struggling to have a cohesive vision. Several groups and associations formed to provide information and education to accommodate growing curiosity, all with their own ideas of what Western dressage is and should be. Clinicians and trainers began to emerge, and the foundation of the classical principles was crumbling. It was becoming clear that Western dressage needed definition and structure quickly before it was completely rejected by the entire equestrian world. North American Western Dressage, founded in 2012, is a registered non-profit organization in the state of Minnesota, is currently in process to receive a federal 501c3, and is a proud affiliate of the United States Equestrian Federation. With lots of input from USDF and USEF professionals, North American Western Dressage created a comprehensive rulebook to give the infant discipline the structure it needed to be a success. The Western Dressage tests are based entirely on the classical training pyramid and span 10 levels. Although the tests are unique, Level 1 through Level 3 is equivalent to the movement requirements in introductory level through first level dressage. These foundation levels are similarly designed to develop the horse's confidence in moving forward with a steady tempo and rhythm, the rider's quality of communication with the horse, connection to the bit, impulsion, and straightness. Stretching circles in both directions are seen in both Level 2 and Level 3, further confirming the horse's willingness to accept contact before advancing to the collection required of Level 4. Levels 4, 5, and 6 increases the rider's influence over the horse's balance and straightness, and the degree of engagement is increased. This creates a greater degree of suppleness, elasticity, and balance as required for collection, more challenging lateral movements, and flying changes of lead. In Level 6, the horse and rider should perform in perfect harmony with nearly imperceptible aids, showing an increased degree of balance, definite lightness of the forehand, and greatly increased engagement of the hindquarters. Levels 7 through 10 introduce movements that further challenge the horse's athletic ability and correctness of training. The canter pirouettes and tempi changes increase in difficulty through these levels, along with more traditional Western elements, such as rollback turns, slow spins, and the haunches in on a circle, with piaffe and passage at Level 10. The growth of the discipline is promoted by licensing Western dressage shows throughout the nation. Licensed judge applications are approved for USEF licensed dressage judges that are current North American Western Dressage premium or professional members in good standing. They must be at least 25 years old and have a passing written exam score of 85% or higher. Classes are open to riders on horses, ponies, or mules of any origin and over 36 months of age. Horses competing at level 6 and above may be at least 6 years of age, and horses competing at level 10 must be at least 7 years of age. Horses may not compete in more than 2 consecutive levels and in no more than 3 classes per day. Following the class, random saddlery, bit, and spur inspections ensure that regulations are being followed. In all Western dressage tests, horses are shown in a Western stock saddle of conservative style. Breast collars are optional. Snaffle bridles and bitless bridles are permitted in all levels, and curb bridles used with one hand may be used in levels 5 through 10 only, after a passing score at level 4 of 65% or higher. Just like dressage, the tests are ridden in a standard dressage arena and movements are scored from 0 to 10. Collective marks include gaits, impulsion, suppleness, harmony, and the rider's position, correctness, and effectiveness. The gaits of the horse should be free, unconstrained, pure, and elastic, with a clearly defined tempo and rhythm, and should cover the ground with great fluidity, lightness, regularity, and ease of motion. The horse's entire way of moving should be united, flexible, supple, even, and well-balanced. The horse's evenness and balance allows him to move in absolute straightness on straight lines, and with an even bend that matches the curvature of the line on which he is traveling. The gaits should be lively and active, their quality being maintained through proper and progressive athletic development, and never giving the impression of having developed unnaturally or through artificial means. The gaits should never have the appearance of being tense, quick, resistant, or abrupt, nor should the gaits appear labored, lethargic, or fatigued. The gaits are described as jog-trot and lope, as opposed to trot and canter. The qualities of collected, working, medium, and extended gaits, as well as the qualities of the lateral movements, are a mirror of what is expected in a traditional dressage arena. With memberships nearing the thousands, there is no denying that Western dressage is coming. It has spawned a multitude of associations, groups, and clubs across the United States, Canada, and around the world. Several breed organizations are offering Western dressage classes, and schooling shows are being held at farms and stables in nearly every state. North American Western Dressage has consistently reached out to other Western Dressage as well as gaited dressage groups, offering to provide our support and help in creating a cohesive, bright, and exciting future with dressage for all horses and riders. With the help of our friends at the United States Equestrian Federation and the dressage instructors, trainers, and judges around the world that have stepped forward, North American Western Dressage will stay true to our commitment to establish a discipline that is entertaining, beautiful, and most importantly, a preservation of history.